welcome to this week's episode of Whimsy with a Z. I'm your host, Ben. Today we have Alice hanging out with us. How you doing, Alice?
I'm good.
Okay. So what is special about this episode in this month of December?
I have my mom here.
How you doing, Mom?
Good.
Does Mom have a name that we're going to use?
Marie.
Mm-hmm. All right. Marie, have you listened to all of the episodes or most?
I've listened to quite a few. Not all. Life, happens. But yes, I enjoy it.
Well, I thank you for coming on. It was kind of a fun idea because the kids have been on for 5 months. Has it really been 5 months?
It's been a while.
I think it's 5. I don't remember. I think this is the 6th month, which is super fun to me because this was kind of a weird idea, and I'm glad that it's all working out very well. What was your first impressions, Mom, of the podcast when I approached you with, "Hey, can I talk to your teenager about life?"
I mean, it sounds like a good idea to me. I don't know. I like the idea of being able to hear the younger generations or just kids in general, what their ideas are, or what they think about. Everybody thinks when you're young, you know it all. You know all the answers. You always have the greatest plans. And not to say that these things don't come, true, but it's nice to see their perspective and how it changes and everything. I like it.
Did you think Alice has been very supportive but nervous about everything. Did you think she would blossom as quickly and as much as she has in the 6 months?
Oh, yeah. As soon as she gets comfortable with somebody and being able to talk, then she's good to go. And she's a joy. So I think it was just a matter of time. It just needed a minute. And she's exciting. I like the way that you guys banter, and it just is very casual.
Yeah. It's been very, very, very casual, good times. She's so funny because I know you a little bit outside of the podcast, and you two sound exactly the same. Like you guys have the same aneurysms. Just the way.
You guys can't. You gotta get over it. I got a little teapot Galifianakis laugh. Sorry, I just had to get it out of the way. Then when it happens, you can't help but laugh because it's happening. So yes, be prepared.
Prepared.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fun. It is interesting because I talked to a couple of others, and I see it in my 4-year-old and in Liam, where I'm like, oh my God, they totally get that from me. Are there any moments when you're listening where you're like, oh my God, that's 100% me? Like she's a mini me.
I don't know. I try not to take credit. I just think they're just so awesome. So, but there are little moments like her reactions to stuff. I'm like, that's my girl. Yeah. I love it. I think there was one about you guys were talking about something with girls or school or something, and she was like, "Yep, nope, I wouldn't have taken that," or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but there's been a couple of moments where I'm like, "Yep, that's my girl."
Was it when the freshmen were walking around staring at her?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, that was it.
That little group of boys.
Yeah.
That I'm pretty sure were freshmen, and I was scared.
No, you were like, what do they want?
Yeah, because they kept getting close to me, no matter the amount of time.
Away.
Yeah, I kept moving away, and then they would get closer and stuff like that.
I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, I had both AirPods in, noise canceling.
not getting the hint.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, boys don't do that. Get hints.
No.
What else? What are some of your favorite topics that you've seen us address over the last couple of months with everybody? Where are some of the highlights? What makes this show special?
I think I like some of like the more honest moments. I know one of the girls had talked about like her mom, and I like that. It got a little deep.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I appreciated like the honesty and then being able to just talk about things. I like it, like just in general, and I like the podcast. I like what the kids are doing or what they're trying to achieve by just sharing aspects. I liked when the kids talked with each other too, just amongst each other. That was nice.
Those were fun. Yeah, Pinky and Danielle had a couple of episodes. It was just the two of them. And then Alice last month had spoken with Danielle. And it was super weird editing it because as soon as I introed them, I jumped off and I was messing around with something else. But when I had to come back and re-edit it, it was weird because it was like how quickly they were like BFFs, and it was this girl talk, and I'm like, I don't even know if I'm allowed to be listening to this time, this kind of thing.
But that's conversations with girls too. Like, it'll bounce from one topic to the next topic. It's definitely like ADD.
Absolutely. Yeah, they were all over the place.
But you get to learn a lot about them, and it's just so candid.
I like that because in the beginning they were all maybe a little bit nervous. Alice, I was able to kind of get out, break her out of her shell a little bit, but just how quickly they talk to each other, and then they're just like, we're just best friends, which was what I was hoping for, is that they would connect and realize like that's so much in common with being boy girl or just age wise, how much they all have in common. So it's been fun. I think we'll have Alice talk to Mark or Dean one day soon. So do you normally when she's recording with me, are you peeking around the corner listening, or you just wait for the episode to come out?
I just wait for them to come out because
No, she hides in my closet.
No, but you probably could hear me or the baby in the background.
Sometimes
yelling sometimes. I'm like, man, wait, she's recording. I know she was, when she did the episode, the last one, my brothers were over and they were, as siblings do, we get together sometimes and you rant about your parents. And so my youngest brothers came over and they were just ranting. And I was like, yep, gotta be an adult, make responsible decisions, tell your mom I love her. So I definitely was loud in the background on that one. I was like, man, you guys be quiet.
I like it though, because it shows I like the idea of like displaying the different households. We got cats everywhere. We got parents and brothers and sisters and everybody screaming in the background, because it's real. That's
life.
Right? Because we all grew up sometimes. Like I have two siblings, and there had to been times where it was never quiet. So I appreciate the like a rustling household of just chaos of just life, which is always a good time. Has there ever been a topic or an episode that has been the topic of discussion throughout the house?
I think we talked quite a lot about like the introduction episodes when they first were coming out. We were getting to just know anything about the kids. So we talked a lot then. Or like if there's specific things, like I know when Alice listened to the episode and they were talking about her mom.
You're amazing.
Her mom, she was like, Mom, I was listening and it just, I had to take a moment. I was like, yeah, okay. And then when I had to listen, I was like, oh, I get it though. And it's like I don't know, just I like listening to it, and we'll talk about it. And then I know that I'm terrible with names, but the one of the boys, he was saying he had listens to like R&B, like 90s music, Dean, and like loves his mom. And I'm like, oh, I love it. I love it. What are your favorite songs? What you made a playlist? What would you want to listen to? Because I might have playlists you like. So I don't know. It was just interesting listening to the kids, and like I know that they had talked about like their summers and stuff, and like just things that they were doing, and I like hearing when they are kind of irritated and how they handle those situations, or choosing to be like, I'm just gonna walk away. I'm gonna accept it for what it is, and we're just agree to disagree and walk away.
Yeah.
I
blocked some people recently.
Oh,
have you?
Yeah.
You should talk about that.
Oh, but you were talking.
Oh no, it's okay. This is your podcast. I want to hear. This is juicy. You should explain to them why you had to block people, because
you know why.
This is my girl. I do know why. You should tell Ben why.
Okay. Well,
What's going on?
There's these two girls. They were my friends at first, right? They were supposed to be my friends.
Frenemies.
Mm-hmm. And it all started with like just like little things they would do here and there that would make me feel, excuse my language, but shitty about myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're supposed to be my friends. And I'm not trying to make a fuss or nothing. I'm not trying to start anything. So I didn't say anything at all whatsoever about it, because they're my friends, we're supposed to be cool, we're supposed to be chill. And then just like stuff would continue to happen. Like literally one time, one of their outside friends, like they went to the snack bar at lunch with their own friend, and then they came back and they were saying like, oh yeah, our friend asked us, they're like, oh, do you even like Alice? Because their friend noticed like, oh, because like you guys side-eye each other whenever like so-and-so is talking. Me. Whenever I talk, they'd side-eye each other like I'm weird,
that
like I'm
says
crazy.
A lot if your outside personal friend is making a comment to you about a friend that's not theirs, about how you handle them, like the way you are, your microaggressions. That's crazy. Frenemies, for sure.
And then both of them actually wanted to call me fat phobic.
I don't think they've ever seen her mom. I'm a big girl. We're a big family. That's crazy.
It's weird. So across 5 months, all of the kids, probably almost once a month, bullying gets brought up. So the different type of bullying that you've heard on the podcast versus when you were a kid, what are some of your feelings with regards to the type of bullying, and then how everybody's kind of handling it?
I think that for the most part, they've all chosen to take like a high road on the situation, or tried to like be the bigger person, which we can all appreciate, especially as parents. But I will tell you, I sit here with my girls and I'm like, screw that. Hell no. But I'm so proud of like the way that Alice handles things, like how she's like, I just choose to not say anything. I would have blew that up the moment that I felt some type of way. I would have addressed you. No, we're not doing that. When I was young, I got my bullying was different because I changed schools a lot, and I tend to live in where I was the minority as the white girl in the neighborhood. So I always got tested when I moved to new neighborhoods. So that's where my bullying came in. But the moment that, you toughed it out one time, they didn't bother you again. Well, not in my scenario, but, I don't know. in Alice's case, I feel like it's more of like a girl who's envious of her, and then she has personal, well, won't direct it as like she's envious directly of Alice, but I feel like, but I feel like she
It's the fourth time, so don't worry about it.
I feel like she has like self-esteem issues, and she takes that out on other people.
Mm-hmm.
And while she'll say, let's not be judgmental, let's all, everybody is entitled to their own opinions, she will flat out bash other people when it doesn't align with her beliefs.
Is all this being done in like person, like third party, like you're being told third party, or is it all social media stuff?
In person.
Okay.
Yeah. So Big is the one that's saying all this stuff. She said that people that believe in God are stupid, knowing that some of our friends believe in him, or
Yeah.
And then insinuated, said that she thought that our friend was dumb. And then Big, she was disrespectful to my cousin, saying like, oh, could you go any slower?
She's just always mean to everybody all the time. It doesn't matter. It's like every day. Big did this. Big did that. She invites herself to everybody's house and just tells everybody else this is where the whole group is meeting, and won't even tell the people prior to this happening. She makes plans, and that's what she expects the whole group to do. And it's just crazy. And there's been plenty of times where other kids in the group have created plans or brought something up first, and she's like, oh no, I don't want to do that. And then we'll turn around and literally the next week be like, oh, let's do that. The haunted house situation. They had all went with the one that she said was stupid, and she had been like, oh, we're going. If anybody wants to go, said it multiple times to everybody. She said, oh, I have to go to work. And then turned around on the day that she allegedly had to work, was asking everybody if they wanted to go out to this haunted house, a different one. Really? You just told everybody you had to work.
Right.
And then we were all supposed to have a Friendsgiving. And she was the one that had the idea, right? I'll give her that. Because she said oh, guys, we should do a Friendsgiving. It'll be fun. And we didn't know whose house to do it at. Because obviously we can't do it at mine. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, And so our other friend, she was like, oh, guys, we could do it at my house. It's big enough. And so we were all doing that. We were planning it and stuff like that. And then all the whole drama going on with Big, we decided to confront her about it. And
that went bad.
Yeah, no. She did.
More stuff came out.
She did not care at all. She did not care.
How did you confront her?
We'll see, our one friend that we were going to do our Friendsgiving at, I was telling her how oh, I don't know if you know, but Big has just been doing this and that.
Also inviting, it also started prior. They tried to address their issues because she was just inviting people that
she was trying to invite people that we don't know, and she was trying to invite this one person that one of our friends does not like at all. And he's just this weird guy. It was it was stupid. It was
so
gross.
where are we at now? Are we obviously we don't like Big, but is she still trying to continue her?
I heard she because when we confronted her, it was around the 16th. The 15th this month is the day that we confronted her. No, the 14th is the day that we confronted her about the stuff that she had been doing. And we called her because she was like, oh, if you guys are going to be talking about me, if you guys are saying this stuff, at least say it to my face instead of doing it behind my back. but we were debating on whether or not we should confront her or something like that, because we were talking about, like, she was just doing all this stuff, like, you know? And so we called her. We were like, hey, you've been doing this and that, making us feel shitty. Like,
they also didn't know how to approach it in the best manner because they knew that it wasn't going to go well.
Right.
So they were walking on eggshells. That's not a friendship.
Right. So we called her. We were like, hey, you're doing this and that. Like, what the heck? And she was like, and then all she said was like, okay. Like, she didn't care. She didn't have a single...
Dismissive.
Absolutely. And then at the end, it took her so long to apologize. That was the most unsincere apology I've ever heard in my entire life.
So now that you got you've approached her, you got a BS apology.
Mm-hmm. And then the next day, it was...
When do you... So we're like 14 days into this thing. When do you just walk away and just call it a day?
I was done. After that call, I was done.
She also, this school year, has been avoiding her low-key. She's been doing her own thing.
Well, I haven't been really avoiding her or anything like that. I just haven't, I don't have any classes with her. Like, I just don't really, like, talk to her. We don't really talk.
She's not going out of her way to see her.
Right.
Talk with her, interact with her.
Right. And so just after that, confronting her, I was done anyway. I was done just, like, being all buddy-buddy with her, being all best friends forever, you know. And then we had our Friendsgiving that Saturday, you know, and she, like, said, like, oh, guys, I'm not going. And then the little one, she was like, oh, I'm not going either. She was like, oh, I'm sick.
Whatever the one does, the other does.
Right. And so neither of them went. And then one of our other friends told me that apparently Big and Little were shit-talking my boyfriend because they wanted me to start dating their guy friend that had a crush on me.
The same one that she threw a stink about that because he liked Alice in the first place.
This is exhausting. How do you guys put up with this?
That's what I said. I've told her so many times, this is how you want to spend your school year?
Walk away.
I haven't really told them, so I was done.
No, so this year she's been good, and now they're all blocked, and it's all dandy.
Because as soon as I found out that they were shit-talking my boyfriend, no, blocked. I was like, what? They said what about my boyfriend?
You protect Fisher Boy at all times.
Because I won't stand for that.
Right. Mom, have you typically been involved or in the know with all of the different friend dramas over the years? Or did Alice eventually open up to a point where it was like, has your guys' communication always been like it is now, or was it a little rough in the beginning? Like freshman, 8th grade?
I feel like it's always been pretty open. Sophomore year, she did try living with her dad to see how that would go. So with not living in the same house, it's obviously a little bit different. Right. You're not getting all the details all the time. But I feel like overall, Alice has always been pretty open and honest and everything with me. I will say, though, that when she was in middle school and struggling with, like, some stuff that was going on and, like, bullying specifically, she was very private. Okay. And she didn't want to talk. And, like, I later, that was hard to deal with, but I feel like she's very open and honest now. She does a really good job of trying to communicate to avoid issues that she's had in the past with, like, her anxiety and things. So I'm proud of her. I appreciate it too. Like, just hearing their gossip and the stuff that they have going on. I'm like,
oh man, it's exhausting.
No, yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, what is that?
Since starting the podcast, have you noticed any changes in Alice? Like, just in general, like, is she like a confidence or just any differences that we might contribute to the podcast?
I will say she is a little bit more like, we've been talking more about specific, like since doing the podcast, we pick topics now, not just the podcast that we'll talk about, but like we actually will discuss more specific things.
Okay.
We'll run it over. And like, I think having the podcast and like listening to it, like, oh, did you listen? Helped us start getting into like the mode of being able to do that. Like being back with each other and following along with something. So I did appreciate that.
How is she doing with preparing? She's almost done. She's 6 months away from being completely done with school, and then a birthday coming up right afterwards, and she's fully an adult.
Well, 5 months, but yeah.
Right. How are you? Do you think she's ready?
I think she is, but I also know that she has anxiety about those things, which is natural.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that anything that she's put her mind to, that she's able to accomplish it. Perfect example, grades. When she first started freshman year, it was a little bit of struggle, but never terrible. You know, she's always got all her credits and did everything she needed.
I just came back from being online because of quarantine.
Yes, but also in general, like every year it's gotten better and better. In places where she felt like she struggled the most is where like she started doing amazing in, like math. Like, I don't think that she gives herself enough credit.
Oh, fair. Yeah.
How well she is doing with things because of the nerves of it all. But she's going to do just fine.
Are you doing your part, Mom, to when are we getting a job? When are we getting our license?
Well, a job is up to her.
Okay.
License, it's just a matter of us working out. It's a timing thing.
Yeah.
With the work schedules and school and, getting up early enough to take her to a parking lot or late enough to take her to a parking lot that it works. Having a baby, a toddler, makes it a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure.
I need to do better myself and just be like, okay, let's go. Let's go.
Do we expect Alice to stay home for a year or two after high school to prepare, do some college kind of? Because obviously it's going to be easier. We haven't gotten into like the differences between like you and I out of high school versus where these kids are going to be after high school, and it's going to be nearly impossible for them to get their own place.
Yeah.
So have we had that conversation about what needs to happen once high school and 18 hits? Like, you have to have a job, you got to pay for stuff, or is it just going to be kind of like it is now?
I feel like it's always kind of been the same thing. Like, I've always told my kids that they can live at home as long as they want to live at home. After high school, though, like, you need to go to school or work or both, whatever it is that you want to do. How much I'm going to support you is dependent on what you're doing. If you're not going to school or anything, then I'm not supporting you. Obviously you can have a roof over your head, but you need to do something. You need to contribute in some way to your life. Like, it's not free and you're an adult. If you don't want to go to school, then, you have to do something.
Right.
But if they're going to go to school and stuff, then I don't care. It's the same thing.
So, but those conversations are happening.
No, of course. Yeah. And then like me in general, because like you said, it's a much different from when we graduated versus when these kids are heading out into life. So for me, I'm very much so like, you can live at home as long as you want to live at home. I don't care if you're 25 and you're living at home still, but you have your car and you're comfortable and you can go on trips and you can go to school or you could do whatever it is that you want to do because you're not having to pay $3,000 a month in just bills.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's too much. The kids, the world's not set up to just let them loose. You're not really an adult just because you're 18,
Well, not like when we were
No.
18. Like there's, I mean, statistically, she's probably going to be home until she's like 24, 25 already anyway. It's wild out there. So I'm always curious to see where the kids are and how far they're thinking ahead. Liam has every intention of scholarship, getting an apartment and doing his own thing, which is totally cool. And obviously support that. But then as he gets closer to his senior year, he's going to be like, I got a car and insurance and I can't afford anything else.
Yeah, it's true.
It's bonkers out there right now. Are there any fears that you have for her or any of the kids as they approach that senior year and the year after?
No, it seems like all the kids have pretty good like a support systems, and they have a pretty good idea of what it is they want to do. In general, I always tell all kids, anybody younger than me, focus on what you need to be doing for yourself for your long run and your future. You have all the time in the world to have fun and to do all those crazy things and go on adventures once you're done getting settled with life. Once you have a career path and once you are set on things, then yeah, of course you're not going to miss anything at 21, and you're probably going to have more fun at 30 than you are at 21 with more money to be able to enjoy yourself and have fun versus, you wanted to party and run around recklessly. No, I always tell the kids, focus on what you need to, and then you could do everything else later. So I don't think that any of these kids I think they'll all be fine.
It is interesting. You mentioned that they all have a support group of some kind, and a very strong support group, all of them, whether it be you and Alice or like Dean and Danielle and their parents. Pinky and Mark have like their friends, like they kind of got like a friend support group and their parents and everything else too. It's amazing to see all of the support that the kids have. You just got to ask for it. Like, so like sometimes I wonder like if kids are worried and they don't have anybody, talk to somebody because there's somebody willing to be there and help you guys out. Way different than maybe when we were growing up. I always knew that people were there and cared about me, but as far as like the support group that they all seem to have, I don't know. I think it's probably me, to be honest. I think kids are a little bit more open to having discussions as opposed to where I was, where I'm like, I'm just going to bottle everything and figure it out as I go.
No, because I think that I feel like our generation and like younger generations are trying to acknowledge our children's feelings and that they're there. They have feelings, that they're people. I feel like a lot of like younger kids, it was more of like, oh, don't ask, don't tell. Like, you don't talk about what happens in your home. Like, you don't, you're a family. Like, like you just don't talk about your outside, like your house, problems or anything like that, or things that are going on outside of your home. And like, I feel like there was a lot more of like, from older generations, like you just don't talk about stuff. There was just certain stuff you don't talk about, or it was like, oh, well, you're a kid, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You don't get to have those opinions. You don't get to. So while we might have had support, we didn't necessarily have room to like talk about how we felt.
Right. So
it's like, okay, yeah. Or they would tell us what we needed to do, but no one was there to help you, like show you how to do it.
Right.
Actually, like just help you because you just needed the help.
Right.
They were just like, oh, well, this is what you need to do. Okay, but how do I do that?
Right.
And I think that there's a lot more resources where.
Oh, for sure.
Having social media, being able to just hop on a computer and look something up is a lot different than, how it was before. Not, everybody had access to those types of things as easily before. So, I mean, I just think it's times have changed a lot about what's like a lot of things in general.
Mm-hmm.
Emotions is a thing that they didn't talk about before, and
No.
these kids have a lot of them.
It's a very emotional generation.
Yeah.
And I can't I can't poo on it because, like, I can't say that if they were raised the exact same way I was, that they'd be better off in any way.
Right.
So it's just different. And I love the podcast because it does kind of shine a light on some of the similarities and then the evolution of just the way life and information is being like accessible versus like 20 years ago.
I seen a post recently that it was a kid in a cast. I was like, where are the kids in the cast? Like, you don't see kids in casts really anymore. And it's like, kids aren't really outside running and jumping and getting into trees. And it's certain things, it's different. Like all of the technology, it's just super beneficial in a lot of ways. But then there's other aspects that it's like, go get hurt.
Right? Like break something.
Yeah. Get some stitches.
Yeah. Like have a stupid scar story. So
did Alice ever tell about the time have the kids talked about like stuff that they've done, like random things with their siblings or whatever? I know one time Alice, it was almost Christmas time, and she about cut off her sister's finger.
She did mention something, I believe.
So ever since then, we're like, oh, watch her with a knife.
Right.
Oh, be careful. And they were just playing. They were just innocently playing, and they laugh about it all the time because they're like, yeah, there was blood, and then we were making sure we didn't get it on the towel. And then I put it over the laundry, and there was wash in there, so they had to watch. And then they did all of this before coming and being like, hey, here's my finger halfway falling off.
I noted that because I think it would be interesting. I think we're getting to a place where we can have a story of an alleged juvenile experience. Because I look back at my teens as just fun. Like I just had such a good time. And a lot of the experiences I had, I don't see the others having. They're having some, but they're still like I don't know. Does Alice sneak out? Like Alice,
never.
Have you ever snuck out?
No. You know who should have joined your podcast? Not who? Alice, but the other one. That would have been. We should have had both of them on there. The dynamics of the difference between siblings too, because we're people. We're just different in the way that we handle things.
Right.
Be raised completely the same, but your experience is different because you're a different person. So no, it's funny. She's not the sneak out type. We've definitely had some moments where I was like, oh, clutch my pearls, and I are like really like truly upset with her, but not many. Like she's just not that girl. She's just she's a sweet kid.
Does the family listen to the podcast, or have you shared the podcast with like other friends and family? Like, do you have a mommy group that you're a part of?
I have told, like, we've told aunts and stuff like that, so like close friends. So we have, but I probably should. I know that my mom might really enjoy it.
I've told like 2 of my teachers.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You should tell. What you guys should do is put, you should advertise it more. Maybe put some little, like, mini flyers and then just put them out at school.
What's weird about it is if she did, then obviously like it's
You're gonna know. So for her,
Right.
she loses the
mystery.
the mystery for her.
How am I supposed
it
to be
sucks.
mysterious?
What you guys should do is like just take random posters and like start putting Whimsy stickers around random places.
oh yeah.
See them in public and like make sure that you put somewhere like it's for teens. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, and just start putting random stickers because I'm going to be honest, plenty of times I've been out places and like I see a random sticker or a random code. I'm like, what is that? And I look it up. Like I don't know. I'm the passenger princess, and so I'm like, hey, I want to see what is that. And like I don't know, maybe.
I think as we continue to develop the podcast, I would love to have Alice sibling come in. Alice has already said that she'll continue next year, so we can get the Z perspective outside of school, so we can see how that's going. But as we continue, I would hope that we pick up an extra teen or two or here or there. We might drop one or two depending on whatever's going on in life, but I definitely think I'd love to get this out there to fucking everybody, but I have to make sure that we're slightly tactful to be like, because in theory,
the kids, it's
right.
The kids trying to promote it if they're trying to stay anonymous,
right?
That's where
like,
the part comes in, but like, I just gotta.
It's a little bit of a challenge, but I think
it'll work.
It will. I think all of the episodes too are just fantastic. So as we increase the audience, they can definitely go back. Like all of these are just timeless at this point to kind of just track how everybody's doing. It's my favorite podcast just to watch the growth from even just month 1 now into month 6 of just how much more open and their personalities start to shine through a lot more.
I think it's like the kids know what to expect a little bit more. Everyone's a little bit more comfortable with each other, more familiar. So it's more natural with the teens.
Mom, are there any topics or conversations that you would like the podcast to address in the future?
Yeah, favorite playlists. Playlists. And let's hear what kind of music that the kids like.
Don't worry. Let me just put mine on shuffle.
Movies, like movie suggestions.
Okay, so let's do. Okay, so if I gave them all homework every month and then maybe I can put them on the website some more, where it was like, give us your current playlist, your top 10 movies, television shows, and kind of just get everybody's
random places that they left a Whimsy sticker or something, or posted something Whimsy. Yeah, but you have to make a new playlist.
I got a playlist.
Yeah, but your playlist, you'd have to share it in a way that it's not directly your name to where people would know who it is.
You'd have to send it to me, and then I would have to
create it.
Okay, now here's where the problem comes in. I barely know how to work most of whatever I'm doing here. She could send me a playlist, and I'd have no idea how to do anything with it.
Homework, and I don't realize it. Like, all right, send me the list, guys, and I'm gonna make a Whimsy playlist.
All right. So you want to know a little bit more
about their likes. Like, I want to hear their gossip. Tell me your juicy stuff that's happening next year. I want to know. I mean, if we're trying to be relatable, you know what I mean? I want to know. Share your stories. Maybe someone else is dealing with the same kind of problems.
Well, I mean, everybody's having the same problems. I mean, Alice and Danielle, Alice lost her shit, like listening to the different type of bullying that Danielle was seeing last month. Like, yeah, it gets crazy.
That's good. I think that they like those conversations of them just talking. I like it.
I think I'm going to do more of those because it makes it easier on me to, like, it's all fun, but the podcast really is about the kids. So if I can give the kids a topic and just let them go for a half hour, 45 minutes, because the boys last month started off a little rough, but the beauty of the podcast is if you can get them talking to each other, it only takes a couple of minutes before whatever insecurities or whatever was holding them back just disappears, and then they just fall right into like talking about anime or what. Yeah. So
that is what makes me want to tune in, is because it's just 2 people, 3 people, whatever. It's a group of people just talking.
Right.
They're just talking. They're laughing. They're sharing. You know, I like that.
Yeah, definitely. There's a realness to it. There's something very genuine about it. Are there any other topics that you would like them to at some point address? Playlists, something juvenile, some gossip.
Juvenile.
Yeah, I said, how you share. Have you shared the story about how you almost cut your sister's finger off? We were saying like kids don't really get hurt anymore. You guys aren't getting cast. You're not. You know, like
I've never broken or fractured a bone.
I'm proud of you.
Have you ever jumped off a roof into a pool?
No.
See, that's part of the. I'm not saying that you should. It's just the amount of disgust that you have with the idea of jumping off the roof into a pool.
Nothing. Like,
she's amazing.
It's tough being a parent that gets to like have alcohol in the fridge or whatever, and I don't have to be concerned if she's gonna pound some claws while I'm, you know.
Right. Have you ever stolen anything from your mom? Like, have you ever stolen a 10 out of her wallet?
No. I'll literally go into her room and be like, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna steal this real quick,"
and she'll just tell me. Like, they just like tell me
tweezers or lipstick if I'm going out.
She's very like, "Oh, I'm taking this. I'm doing this." My younger daughter, not so much.
All right, so
like, if it's missing, you're like, "Oh, that bitch took it."
All right, so next, in one of the coming months, what I'll do is I'll have everybody steal something from their parents.
Yeah.
Take a picture of it, and then they can return it, but like they have to keep it for a week.
And see if they notice. Like, some of us might notice.
I'm gonna put it in plain sight.
Me over here with my ADHD, I'm like,
oh, where'd you get that?
I'm like, oh, I left it here.
Alice looks completely like horrified. She's like, I'm not going to do any of this. I'm a good kid. You can still be a good kid and still do something kind of weird.
No.
So, all right.
She's very responsible. Like, I know where she is, what she's doing.
You can be responsible and steal your mom's left shoe.
No, when she doesn't, though, when she's not, like, when she doesn't answer, because that's not like her. Like, I don't have to worry about that with her. So if she's not, I'm like, what the hell? The hell?
I could be in the bathroom shitting.
I was really good about it this last time because I go from 0 to 100. If I can't get a hold of you with having daughters, like, oh no, it's a problem. You need to answer now.
She recently went from like 0 to like 70.
Hey, I did a good job. Did you hear that? 70.
And then before that, she went from 0 to 1,000. So.
Hey, look at that improvement from 1,000 to 70. That's a win's a win.
I will also like to bring up a topic eventually about the differences between boys and girls, like because obviously with having daughters, like there's extra dangers out there.
Yeah.
That, like, what conversations? Because I think Danielle would obviously benefit from it. I'm sure Pinky has a bunch of ideas too. But like, what do you guys have to do to like protect yourselves? Which is like the shittiest thing about it really is like, why do you guys have to go the extra step to make sure you guys don't get like kidnapped and trafficked and everything else. But like, Alice, when did you start becoming aware of like you have to man your cup and just your surroundings and just weird creepy boys?
Always.
I guess.
And then like, what does mom do to be like because I remember growing up, it was just like just be home by a certain time, or just call and check in. Like, does that fly anymore for kids today, and or the girls? Like, do you have to take pictures of like where you're at, pin yourself so mom knows where you're at?
My mom has my location on Life 360 and Find My iPhone.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she also knows where I am at all times as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Well, sometimes she does care. Okay.
Yeah.
When are you going to be back? When are you? I'm going to.
She'll go to the store real quick. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the store or to the gas station real quick." I'm like, "Okay." And then like 10 minutes later, she's not home yet because she said, "Oh, I'll go real quick," and I'm checking her location.
You're like, "Well, I saw you stop at Starbucks. Where's my Starbucks?"
And then I also have my cousin and I have my cousin and a couple of my friends' locations and my boyfriend's location. And then sometimes I'll text my cousin and she'll like you said, at Starbucks, I'm like, "Oh, you getting a drink or something? What's going on?"
Here's my order.
Yeah.
I thank you both for hanging out. Mom, it was good. Are there any advice that you would like to give all of the kids as we continue moving forward with the podcast and life?
If they don't like you for being you, then fuck them.
Okay.
And then also too, like I said earlier, when it came to like focus on the important stuff, school, your family, the important things.
That's why I blocked some people.
Yes, friends, and they come and go. Relationships with outside people, like boys and girls, they come and go. But your education is always going to be important, and your family is always going to be important. So focus on those things. And if they don't like you for being you, give them the old, good old bird. You don't need them in your life.
You don't need them. Your whole big little story is exhausting.
My bad, too.
Sorry about that.
I wish it was as easy as just cut it off. But you also get to see them in school and you get to continue to hear it, and it sucks. So I like that it didn't escalate in any fashion. Like it sound like you half checked with mom, because mom's like, punch her in the face, and you're like, I'm not going to do that.
Right. The most I would have gone as far as to like yelling. Like when I get
yelling is
really
that she
mad.
Slightly raised her voice.
And you can see it in her face. I'm upset.
Or like when I'm really mad, it's like
she gets aggressive. You could see it. Her face changes.
I get as angry and as loud as my mom can.
She's very very her emotions are in her face.
Mm-hmm. She's very expressive with that.
Yes.
If she's not going to say it, her face will.
Thank you guys for coming on. Alice's mom, thank you for hanging out. I'm glad that you like the podcast. I do agree that it does need to get promoted better, but
we'll work on it.
We'll get there. I think a lot of it is just what do the kids want to do, really? Like if they're like, we want this to be the next Big Brother or Real World. Do you guys even watch that stuff anymore?
I love it, but no.
But we'll kind of just keep a pulse on where everybody's at. Maybe wait until year 2, and then be like, wait till everybody's all pro at it. But it's been fun. I don't plan to stop doing it. So Alice, I appreciate you for continuing to, hang out, tell us what's going on. I'm excited to see what the rest of the year and next year looks like. Oh, because like you're 2 years ahead of everybody else.
Oh, he's thinking about that. I had asked her, I was like, how does it feel to be the oldest for the first time? You're the oldest in the scenario. And she was like, it's weird.
Do you feel like you have any extra added, like, as the oldest, have you like acknowledged or thought about that you could have like a little extra responsibility to like the podcast and sharing your experiences downward and to kind of help prepare everybody else? Or have you just been like, this is just fun and I like to do it?
Mostly the second one.
She likes to do it.
Yeah.
And now I brought it up and she's like, oh my God, now I have to be responsible for these kids.
Right?
Yeah. As the oldest, you have a certain responsibility.
You've been dubbed the oldest.
She is terrified right now.
I have to be responsible of my siblings and other kids too.
Hey man, that's the beauty of like podcasting and being the oldest.
The terrified look in her face.
She's like, she's gonna look for somebody older to jump on.
Oh,
She's passing on.
So I do this podcast.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys have a good rest of the night. I will go through. Okay. I'm going to end the show, but then we have to stay on for a second because I need Mom to do something for me because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at least 8 wrong name drops that I have to fix. You guys have a good night. Thank you. Whimsy.